Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and today we're checking out a new HDMI video output Android 10 CarPlay box from Aurora. This is basically a similar dongle to the MMB 11 Plus in that it supports HDMI output, as well as having the functionality to carry a micro SD card for onboard storage and media, SIM card support, and a USB-C output port. So you can have Android OS software and apps running on your CarPlay display, as well as on any HDMI display that can take HDMI input using the HDMI output port and its optional mini HDMI cable. Okay, so let's have a look at what's inside the box. Okay, so here is everything that comes inside the box. We get a user manual, which features how to get paired with your Bluetooth device and how to get it connected to your CarPlay system. We have the dongle itself that we will come back to in a minute. And we have a USB-C to USB-A braided cable. And we also have a USB-A to USB-C adapter for modern CarPlay vehicles and a small little SIM card remover tool to remove the SIM card tray from the dongle itself and to insert your SIM card into. There's also an optional HDMI mini to HDMI full-sized cable to allow you to plug this dongle into a HDMI display and operate it that way. Okay, so looking over the dongle itself, we have a glossy top cover, a small car motif, and the Aurora logo at the bottom. On all sides, we have a lot of airflow grills here on the sides and on the bottom as well. On one side, we have the HDMI output port, and on the other side, we've got a USB-C output port, which we connect to our CarPlay vehicle, a SIM card tray, and a TF or SD card slot for onboard media storage. The box also comes with 64 gig of onboard media storage, so you can store all your APK apps from the Android Play Store, as well as your own media software as well. So you basically connect the USB-C end into the dongle, and then the USB-A end will go into your CarPlay port in your car, or if you've got a more modern car, you use the adapter to turn it into a USB-C, and then connect that into your USB-C CarPlay port in the car. Over here, you would then have the SIM card tray, which is a little similar to the other Android dongles that we've seen. However, this uses a tray rather than inserting the SIM card directly. So if you pop in the SIM card here, make sure you got it orientated the right way around, and then slide it back in place and it clips in there. Over here, you have the TF card slot. You'll get your micro SD card or your TF card, how you like to call it. And then that just basically inserts only one way, not this way. So you've got to turn it around so that the ridges are facing down, and then pop that in and until it clicks into place. So now you've got some storage media there that you can expand it up to probably 128 gig of extra storage over the internal 64 gig. The HDMI port on the other side supports up to 6K video output, and it can also be connected to a rear headrest as well as a TV. If you're in something like a hotel room, you just have to carry this box around with you, then you've got Netflix and everything there as well. It's got 4 GB of RAM, and apparently it runs at 2 GHz, so hopefully this is going to be a little bit more robust and a bit more faster than some of the other dongles I've reviewed. Features Wi-Fi AC, so you've got 5G there, and there are 2 different models that supports Europe and Asia, as well as North America, likely for the 4G network support. It has built-in GPS, and the number of satellites it supports is up to 36, which is generally, hopefully, going to give you better GPS into your various Android apps. It supports wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. It has Bluetooth 5.0 and 4.2 antennas, HDMI video output, and also supports split screen. So with dual Bluetooth functionality, that means you can probably insert a Bluetooth mouse or joystick or keyboard and have the ability to control the box and its content through a remote functionality, such as gaming with a Bluetooth controller or using the navigation of the UI itself using a Bluetooth remote control. So on paper, there's a lot going for this dongle, so let's jump in the car now and see how well it performs. Right, so we're in the car, we've got the dongle here, and we're basically going to be plugging this into the CarPlay port using the USB-A CarPlay port in the central console of my Golf. So let's get this plugged in. It'll be starting up for the first time, and let's see how fast this actually boots up.
A few moments later.
So the UI is pretty similar to the other dongles that we've seen. We don't have a home screen or a home menu screen. We've got a floating navigation that we've seen on some other dongles in the past that has a very similar UI to it, such as back, app sorting, voice assistant. This is split screen mode, and you've got clear apps, and also you can return back to the main car system as well. So because it's using CarPlay, it's actually going to go through your CarPlay option in your system itself. We're going to get rid of this split screen. We have a side dock here with time, SIM, network signal. You got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection. Here we have the GPS. We have it outside in the center console. It's not tucked away at the moment, and it's connected to 14, and then it jumped to 23 satellites. It all seems quite rapid, so that's really nice to see. There's no physical back button or location on the main menu. You have to use this system, or this drawer system that sticks out. Settings, we have full access to the Android 10 operating system. It's called Bingo Plus, but it is Aurora. The consumer version is called the Aurora. And we've got familiar applications that you've come to expect. You've got messaging, BT Phone, Google Maps, third-party APK installer, which is handy if you can't find apps on the App Store with this particular version. You might be able to get downgraded or older apps which do run on the system through the APK installer. CarPlay using SpeedPlay, and that's a common app that we've seen in the past. And from here you can choose your make and model, so you can actually customize it so it suits you. This is the icon that shows on the CarPlay screen. You can have wireless auto connect, so you can actually connect to your phone straight away as soon as the dongle boots. You can also choose left and right dock if your car system doesn't support it itself. We'll come back to that in a minute. BT Music, if you've got Bluetooth being played from a Android or iPhone connected via Bluetooth, as well as making the phone calls. Chrome browser, contacts, and Google Play Store, we'll find that out as soon as we get connected to the internet. Same with the majority of these will also require an internet connection to run. Waze is pre-built onto the actual system itself, and you can see here that we have got 3 of the last used apps. We have a quick access to the app manager, which consolidates all the icons into one whole vertical scroller. And then down here we have the home button as well. That will take us back to our car system. Right, so let's go back into settings quickly and look at what the actual Bingo settings can do. This is quite individual to the actual dongle itself. So we have a compatibility section here, navigation app of what is your preferred navigation app, what's your preferred Google Assistant. So this will actually be your voice button on your wheel. Will it use CarPlay? If you want it to use CarPlay, then you've got to set it to SpeedPlay, and you've got to have CarPlay connected and running. Or you can use Google, and obviously fire up the Google Assistant if you have as well as even if you're in CarPlay, or fire up Google Assistant for that purpose. But you do need to have an internet connection for that too. You can have a boot up app, so you can set that to SpeedPlay as well, and that will fire up CarPlay or Android Auto wirelessly. We can use the car GPS instead if you wanted to, but I think the dongle's pretty rapid and quite good there. Copy logs to SD card if it's installed. Factory settings, I don't really know the button to get into there. So let's get this connected to the internet properly through either my home Wi-Fi or a wireless hotspot. So to do that, you need to go into settings, go into the Wi-Fi. It's not connected at the moment. It is using my mobile, right? So that's almost one of the only dongles that I've had that's connected no problem to the Wi-Fi without any issues. So that's really good. I have set it to 5G only, so I can get the best speed from my router, which is in the house. But usually it would just say saved, and then it won't actually process through, and I can't get connected. So I'd either have to use my onboard data SIM or just spend ages trying to get it to work. But this has worked first time, so that's really, really good. Right, so we've now got connection. We've got a Wi-Fi signal up here on our side dock, and from here we can now experience any app that we want. So the go-to app, and probably why you are here, let's try out YouTube. So that loads in nice and quick. Search for CarPlay. So here we are on CarPlay, and we can just fire up any sort of Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and in this video today I'll be looking at the Autocast U2X. This is a wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. So that's working out super fast, nice and quick, using my 5G router. We'll just go back and get some lip synced video so we can actually see. Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and in this video I'll be looking at this new Z3 box. In the box you get the Z3 box itself. So in the car I plugged the... So I'm happy with that. It's got good audio, it's in sync, and I'm scrubbing through and it's not taking that much time to rebuffer and play out. So that's really, really nice. That's YouTube. I'm going to log in to my Google account now, so I can actually run things like Google Maps, Google Play, and things like that. So I do that through the Play Store. I'm going to sign in. Right, so I've signed into the store with my Google credentials, and you can do that through settings or just signing into a Google app. And from here, basically, I can then browse the App Store. I can even browse my own apps that I've downloaded in the past and get quick access to downloading those. So I'm going to do that now. So these are now downloading onto the internal storage. You could choose, if you wanted to install them onto the SD card, but I don't think it's really necessary with 64 gig already on the actual system itself. Let's have a look at device info and see what actually is inside and what's running. Right, so inside device info, you can see that it's running Android 9 Pie, which is a little bit odd because it's advertised to have running Android 10. They did say it's running at 2000 gig, but it's 1.8 on all the 4 cores at the moment. There might be a peak, so it might just reach that and fluctuate down if things like games and stuff are using it. So the system says it's running Android 10 Pie, dated 2018, API 11. It has root access. Java is 0.9. CPU is a Snapdragon 450, up to 1.8 gigahertz, 8 core. You're definitely feeling it. It definitely does feel good. Networking, link speed is 260 megabytes per second, 5,200 megahertz, 5 gig is supported. Onboard RAM is up to 3 gig with 3 gig of system storage and 49 gig of internal storage there rather than 64, because the system's got to use up quite a lot of that. And it's detected my internal storage of 16 gig as well. Everything seems to be running in the 40s for temperature, up to the 50s. Let's try Candy Crush. Sugar Crush. Tasty. That works out well. Plays really well. Sounds coming through your car stereo speakers, and that works really, really good. Let's try Google Maps. Got to use the built-in GPS unless it uses the GPS of your car to do the GPS location. And obviously it needs data as well to get all that information for car journeys, traffic and things like that.
Head northwest on Stanmer Avenue, then turn right to stay on Stanmer Avenue.
So that's good. The audio wasn't coming through low quality. Coming through the stereo is totally fine. And the map tiles seems to load up all right. It wasn't really as skippy as I've seen it in previous dongles. So that's probably the grunt of the CPU that's in the background there. So here we are, we've signed into our Spotify account. And from here we can actually play out the music from the playlist. From here we can do our wheel controls, which are working perfectly. The voice commands, going to bring up Google Assistant. Going to connect to our audio. So with Spotify running, you could then bring up the split screen functionality, and you could then navigate through Google Maps whilst you're listening to Spotify on the others. You could even listen to or use YouTube, for example. So we'll start this.
Head northwest on Stanmer Avenue, then turn right to stay on Stanmer Avenue.
So we got that low quality mode. So we'll go in and fix that. So if you do get this with this dongle or any other Android dongle, it's very easy to fix. You just simply have to go to your Google settings. And then navigation settings, you go to Hey Google detection, turn it off while driving. And then let's go back into split screen again, bring up the volume.
Head northwest on Stanmer Avenue, then turn right to stay on Stanmer Avenue.
So that's all fixed. And the best thing is that you got split screen, so you can actually run 2 apps at the same time. And if you ever want to switch focus, you just swipe which one you want to go full screen with. So that's really, really handy. Again, you can do small little tiles like that if you've got navigation running at the same time. So we've gone through YouTube. So with split screen, you could actually have your navigation and YouTube running at the same time. So that's really nice. Obviously you can't do full screen on one side because it's very narrow. But that's quite nice having navigation and YouTube playing off at the same time. That makes it less distracting as well if you were to do that, but I wouldn't recommend driving whilst playing YouTube. Right, so let's fire up CarPlay and see how well that functions. We'll load up the SpeedPlay app, and then we're gonna fire up our Bluetooth on the phone, and we're gonna connect to what should be the dongle, which would show up at the bottom here. Bingo Plus shows up. We're gonna pair, allow. In about 7 seconds or so, and we're into CarPlay. So that's really nice and fast. And then from CarPlay, we can put our phone down now. That's now running wirelessly. You can see it's now charging through my dock. And then from here, we can go through and play as you'd expect with CarPlay. Same wireless CarPlay delays as you'd expect. Wheel navigation is working. I'm pressing them now. And backwards. Try the button, which probably should load up the Google Assistant. No, it shows up Siri, so that's good. Send an audio message to test.
Okay, recording.
Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and this is an audio test using the Aurora wireless CarPlay dongle with Android 10. So that's interesting. It used the low quality signal for the voice. So in theory, that might improve with voice calling through this dongle as well, even through CarPlay. So that's interesting to see. So basically everything else in CarPlay is going to function as you expect. GPS is going to come through the phone. Navigation, for example, is going to be as you'd expect. It all loads up totally fine. Quality is good. It's displaying it quite well. It's got the icon that we chose earlier from the main menu, and you can just dip back in there, CarPlay again. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So let's come back. We have to go back to the bit there. Right, so let's check out Android Auto. We've got our Android Auto phone here, and we're going to fire up the Bluetooth settings. We're going to pair it with the device, which hopefully should pick up the bingo. So we're going to connect to that. We're going to pair. Pair is now connected successfully without any problems. This has now seen that we're paired. Android Auto again. We can now put this down, and now we're in Android Auto. So here it's carried on connecting to my Spotify, so that's all good to go. Android Auto is now working. We've got our navigation is swapped over here because we probably set it to the right, so it's taken that on board as well, which is really nice. And all the apps that I've used with Android Auto, so not many. My phone isn't connected to the internet through a SIM card, which is probably what it will need, so I won't be able to show you Android Auto working properly. So it'll come out of there. Spotify is probably cached and playing through that way. Yeah, Spotify is offline. We'll quickly try maps, but probably won't work. But you can use offline maps with this if you wanted to. So we've got some offline maps running at the moment, and that's obviously plotted my route. So that's really good. It's not going to get traffic, obviously, but that's pretty cool. Android Auto working as you'd expect with Spotify in the background and all the various apps that will work with Android Auto. So rapidly boots in fast, so that's really good too. And to come out of here, we just hit exit, and then we're back into the dongle main menu interface again. And with Bluetooth connected, we can then go into BT Music, which is playing my Spotify from this phone. And here you can then play the tracks through that as well, if they were loaded, that is. So again, data signal problem. Yeah, so that's a lot to like. I'll quickly pair it to a HDMI signal. So you should now be seeing in the video me connecting it to an HDMI connection. So I've used it on an HDMI display. You can see it working through there. You will need a Bluetooth connection, such as like a wand or a keyboard, to get the best out of doing it that method. But the ability with the HDMI as well is that you'll be able to connect it to a headrest TV or a secondary display in a car or anywhere else, to be honest, and you'll be able to activate onto HDMI as well. So that's a really good benefit of that too. So this dongle retails for $236, or roughly around £180, which is a pretty good deal considering that the majority of these dongles retail for roughly around $300. But this is through AliExpress, so if you're in the West, bear in mind that there will be some customs duty potentially, and obviously shipping costs as well. Overall, I think it's a good dongle. It has a lot going for it. It has a much better performance generally. All the other Android OS dongles that I've tried in the past, including the CarLink kit, which is one of my favorites. The one thing that lets it down is its general UI. I think it could be a bit more improved. I'm really not a fan of this back button. I think if we had a more persistent dock and ability to be able to control back to main menu that way and do everything else through long presses, which a few dongles have done, I think that would be a better menu interface over the top of this performance, and that would have made it a really good dongle to buy. If you can look around those little niggles, then this is actually a very good, decent dongle. I had better connection with my Wi-Fi, for example. I had much instant connection to wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto without any niggles that I have experienced with other dongles. And with Android 10, you should be able to operate some software without any too much problem either. I did see Disney Plus not available for this version of the dongle, so you will have to root certain apps probably by downloading certain APKs and installing them that way if you're thinking about running video apps on the device itself. But CarPlay was very, very quick. Android Auto also launched very, very quickly, and I had no problems there. You have that Bluetooth voice transmission over wireless CarPlay. That might improve call quality and delays, but at this time I can't test that right now. And you've got the full Android system settings, so you can actually customize it that way too. Bear in mind, because it's an Android OS, you should really look into locking the system, because if anyone takes that dongle from your car, then you could have all your identity or at least your Google accounts stolen and used, because they can just plug this dongle into an HDMI port or even in their car and have direct access to the software and your accounts that are on the dongle. So to do that, you have to make sure that you at least have two-factor authorization on your device, on your Google account. And with security, you'll just have to then turn screen lock on, either set up a pin or a pattern, and then basically when the dongle then next boots, which I'll do it now. So now we've got a lock screen. So if everyone were to steal your dongle from the car, they won't be able to get access to your accounts this way, because you would have this screen would then pop up. You would then have to enter in your password, and that would then get you into the actual system itself. So that's really recommended way with any of these dongles if they support the ability to turn on some form of security on the front end of the dongle, and then now you're in. So that's really cool. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. If it has, leave us a like down below and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this particular dongle. You can check out all my other Android OS dongle reviews up in this playlist up here. Hit that subscribe button down below to catch all my future content, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.